Hey, this is Tiger. Welcome to my stream, another unboxing stream tonight for the Turbostar livery pack that was released today. I think it was, at least it was meant to be released today by Rivet Games. And good evening, AJ. Nice to see you on the chat. Game is still loading in. This reminds me that I actually meant to check out whether it actually has been released. But nevertheless, at any rate, the embargo has elapsed so that I can talk about it and show it on the stream. Yeah, midweek stream, because next weekend I want to jump into the Expert Baureihe 101. And so we need to do the unboxing stuff in the weekdays. So what do we get actually? We get with this pack that I want to show up here. It is running on the Birmingham Cross-City. And I just saw that my DLC marker is still for Train Sim World 4, so let's fix this quickly. Birmingham Cross-City. It is obviously the Train Sim World 5 that we're running in. Not for long anymore, because Train Sim World 6 is at the door. So now it should be fixed. And the disclaimer, I got this DLC key for free from DTG for being an ambassador. Nevertheless, I tell you just exactly what I think about it, as you are used to with my streams and my videos. Alright, so what are we talking about? We're getting two liveries and two different variants of this train. Let's just look at it in the train depot. It is the Class 170 Turbostar, and you can see, oops, it always kicks you back for if you go into it for the first time. So we know this train from the Fife Circle Line in ScotRail livery. This is the train that we had before, and the four versions above are the new ones that you get with this pack. It is two liveries, two versions. The versions more or less are a 1-2 car variant, that is the stroke 5 variant, and 1-3 car variant, that is the stroke 6 variant. And then it comes in a West Midland Trains livery or West Midland Railways livery. Depends on whether you want to name the brand or the company. And the other one is the cross country. That's what it says. XC is cross country, just like the King's Cross. The X. Ravens Lofty. I have mixed feelings about the Turbostar. Wonderful for rural routes like EMR regional. Kind of terrible for the cross country airport service. Well, yeah, I have kind of mixed feeling about this pack myself, but nevertheless, let's look at it and see for ourselves what we see. Actually, in the Fife Circle Line, I liked driving the Turbostar. Whoop, 11 months, always me. Oh yeah, you resubscribed. Thank you so much for resubscribing, Lofty. I subscribed for 11 months, currently on a 11-month streak. This is so great. Thank you for this support. In Birmingham, maybe, we get a new timetable. This is the original one, Cross-City Timetable 2019, where especially the 323 train is running. We now get an additional one, the Cross-City Class 170 timetable, and in that we can choose those four different trains. So far I have not spotted them appearing on any other timetable. Yeah, you can see I already bought for you this one here, the greenish, bluish, yellowish Central Trains train, the 323 variant, an older DLC that comes in a package that you can buy or a bundle on Steam at any rate at the moment, together with the Birmingham route if you don't own it yet. And it is kinda on sale on Epic Games Store at the moment until the end of August too, and there I picked it up with 20% off. It's a rather cheap DLC anyway. So, but as you can see, I'm still investing money in buying up all the DLCs that I did not get for free. And before we actually look into the timetable and play something, we also get a journey to go with it, like rail journey, Birmingham Cross-City here. The regional railway is the one that comes with that train that or the livery that I just discussed, and the Cross-City Class 170 journey is the one that we get from this DLC here. It gives you a couple of, not only an introduction, but also some... Oh yeah, this is still locked because I haven't played it yet. Also a couple of scenarios that comes with it. See how little of all those scenarios I already played. Those are not all from the Rivet pack, but some of those Central Trains DLC. One thing I prepared for you, what you don't get with the DLC, what you can do yourself. How do you feel about obscure liveries? I wonder what you mean about obscure liveries. What comes to mind is one thing that I have in my prepared game here. A livery that is in the game, but that does not really appear anywhere in any DLC, and so on. So, what I lined up here for you is a mock-up of all the Turbostars that we have in the game, and more or less the precursors or pre-runners, forerunners, the 166 networker turbos, what are more or less the earlier versions, or the trains that the 170 Turbostar trains got developed out of. So especially the 166, one of the oldest trains in the game, from the Great Western Railway, Great Western Express. And here is an obscure livery that I found when I started spawning those trains. I wasn't aware that the 166 networker turbo also lives in the game in this dynamic lines livery for the first Great Western. Great Western was at the time, and I think it still is, run by the first group, and between about 2005 and 2015 they used liveries of that kind with this purplish blue and varying lines, and this is the dynamic lines livery. And you can spawn this train, but it appears to my knowledge nowhere else in the game, in the timetables or in the train depot. So interesting. If you know more about how this livery comes into the game, let me know, would be interesting. Networker Turbo, as we know it from Great Western Express, it is a diesel multiple unit with a hydrodynamic transmission, a Void transmission, almost the same that later appears on the Turbostar. Turbostar has a bit of a newer one, a more modern one. It has diesel engines from a different manufacturer. I think it is MTA, Maybach engines that we use on the Turbostar, plus the hydrokinetic transmission from Void with one switching point, if I'm not mistaken. Those chocolate brownish ones with the grey and almost magenta doors are the cross country. Here you can actually see it. Versions, and those have this very prominent design of the carpet on the floor and a first class compartment in comparison, or unlike the West Midland Railway trains. We have a first class compartment here. You can see the spacing is much bigger, and this is the standard compartment in this cool dark burgundy red design, always with this very disquieting pattern on the floor. I always wonder what this seat actually is for. It looks a bit like the guard for the toilet, for the accessibility toilet. And whoever has to sit there must feel quite alone. Yeah, can see the stroke 6 version with 3 cars, the stroke 5 version with 2 cars. And this is the West Midlands Railway, operated by West Midlands Train. West Midlands Train also operates the London Northeastern trains, I think, L&R, and West Midlands Railways, or those trains, originated from a company called London Midland that was famous for the green moquette, and this still survived in the trains. So on the interior they are still like London Midland, even though the exterior has changed, the livery on the outside, and we don't have a first class compartment here. The cab is almost similar to the cross-country versions. It has a different sticker for the bell codes from what I've seen. Well, yeah. And they don't have this toilet guard seat for whatever reason. Here's the accessibility toilet, and here we don't have this seat in the corner. So maybe they felt about it a bit the same way that I felt about it, that nobody really wants to sit there. Problem with my lineup is that we cannot really walk across those rails because they are a bit too high above the ground. Yeah, and for comparison I put the ScotRail train here next to the other ones. For whatever reason I cannot access it. Maybe here. And it looks a bit different, especially from this part of the cab, for the power brake handle and the reverser in the master key. They are a bit different. So this is the stroke 4 version. And that we know from the Fife Circle Line comparison for that. The West Midland Railway with a different setup for especially this side of the cab. And Lofty says Central Trains had a livery of green with blue accents, but they leased 3 170s from Porterbrook, which were in white with purple doors. It's a rather distinct color scheme. Alright, that sounds interesting. Well, to be honest, I'm still finding my way across all those train operating companies in the UK and the liveries that were used. You might remember when we did that bit about the history of the ScotRail brand, and it is always interesting to dig around who sold the company to whom. Like Cross Country is owned by or operated by Arriva UK trains, that until last year I think was owned by the Deutsche Bahn and then sold to an American private equity firm, I Square Capital or something like this. So you wouldn't think that this livery actually worked for the Deutsche Bahn for quite some time. Lofty says also, I would argue that you can't mention the 170 without mentioning the 168 Clubman between. Yup. The problem with that is that we don't have it in the game. So I skipped it. I read about it. Especially, well, obviously you're right. The line of development is the 165, the 166, the 168, and then the 170. And the Clubman, the name I actually was not aware of. But the 168 came in between. Unfortunately, we can't even spawn it in the game. Yeah. This one comes from Fife Circle, the one to the left. Those four come with the new Rivet DLC. And those two are already in the game. I guess both of them come with the Great Western Express. Also this Arcane Dynamic Lines first Great Western livery. So enough for my lineup. And now let's drive one of those Turbostars up the Lickey incline. And Lofty says, I'm slightly patriotic, given the 168 and the 170 were built in my home city of Derby. I see. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense then. Well, being built, the 166 was still built by Brel, I think. And the 170 Turbostars then by ABB and Adtranz and Bombardier in the end, right? If I'm not mistaken. What is also the next thing that you always have to go through the decades. Companies like Braun-Boveri in Switzerland and ASEA in Sweden merging to RBB, ASEA Braun-Boveri, and then being swallowed by Mercedes-Benz, ending up to Adtranz, being sold to Bombardier, being swallowed by Alstom, and then you totally lose your footing about, is it a Swiss train, a Swedish train, a German train, a British train, or whatever, a Canadian train, or a French train in the end. Juniper, I'm a very simple man, I just like Siemens trains, alright. At least there you don't have the problem that the owner always changes so much. Birmingham Cross-City. Cross-City class 170, I want to just pick a random service and drive it. Lofty, I will argue it's British, given that the design wasn't really exported international. I give you that totally. For me, the Turbostar is a British train, just as the Electrostar is a British train. In every train where you have to pull the combined power brake handle to get the train going is a British train for me. So we're starting in Bromsgrove, what is just outside of the West Midland, Birmingham metropolitan area in Worcestershire, if I'm not mistaken. And we're driving uphill the Lickey incline towards Birmingham until we get to Birmingham New Street, I think, with one stop at Birmingham University. And this is where most of the services... What? Not quite? Is it not in Worcestershire? My Bromsgrove? Or is the pronunciation not the one that makes you recognize the city. You hear it from my mouth. The pronunciation is a bit off. Well, I apologize for that. Let's turn on this thing that we can legitimately operate the doors. So, West Midland, it's the U of strut. Bromsgrove. That sounds weird for me. Probably because of my pronunciation here. Bromsgrove. Bromsgrove? Bromsgrove. Ah, for Worcester. It's not so long then. Strut, Worcestershire. Don't forget to switch on the AW Worcestershire. Great. Thank you for helping me with this. Worcestershire. Next thing, more to the east then, is Warwickshire. It's a bit like with French, you have a lot of letters and the word is significantly shorter than it looks. So did I forget anything? Safety systems, GMSR. Can turn off the DRA because the signal changed. And then never forget the hill start brake. It's very important on this route because there is almost always an incline. And it always takes a bit until your train starts rolling. If you wonder where it is, your hill start brake here for your left thumb, you push this inside and then you can hold the train while the diesel engine is revving up. And if you use keyboard shorts, you can use the key that would normally apply your train brake on trains without a combined power brake handle. So, Bromsgrove up the Lickey incline from Worcestershire to the Birmingham West Midland conurbation. And even if you go full throttle here, you will see how the gradient will prevent your train from really getting speed or picking up speed. We have a formation with 2/5 two-car trains. The timetable is created by a guy called Tyler, who used to be a modder, now working for Rivet games. And they advertise their timetable, especially with the fact that you have a lot of traffic, a lot of adverse signals that you can run into. In the beginning there were some problems with trains being routed to off-map locations, even though they were supposed to go somewhere else. But there was a first day patch, and probably this has been fixed now. See if you see some videos from my colleague ambassadors. if they are using the version that was originally distributed pre-release. It's gone, it's back, it's gone, it's back. You're talking about the stream, CD Radar. Did it start counting anew? Can't really see at the moment. No, it is still counting. So for me, it did not stop. Here, cross-country, stroke 5 train coming in. What are you talking about then, if you're not talking about the stream? So, this limit to 75 does not really phase us a lot. We have not made it up to the 40 miles per hour, even though we're going. The teddy bears. I never collected those teddy bears because they are so cute. Probably something silly as always, yeah. And typically I enjoy the silly things that you do. So soon we will be passing Brent Green, where the other branch line is coming in. Akura94 subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much for your support. Very much appreciated. So, Brent Green. Here the junction with the line coming in. Thank you. Normally on YouTube, today sometime for Twitch. Happy to hear that you're watching my videos on YouTube. And nice that you made it to the live stream today. So, we're up. Lickey Incline. I hope I put all the trains that I lined up to show you out of the way, otherwise we will just crash into them. But I think we're good. Longbridge it is called, I think that we are going for. Longbridge, Northfield, before that we are getting to Longbridge. And then we have to prepare to slow down a bit, because then we are going to the left towards Birmingham. In Longbridge we're already out of Worcestershire. And CD Radar says, hi to all YouTube viewers, we love you. Yes, I can only say hear to that. So, This should be Longbridge, if I'm not getting the name confused again. Yes, it's Longbridge, then Northfield, and then at King's Norton we're going left. So maybe we don't necessarily need to slow down here. It's enough if we start slowing down at Northfield. But since, from what I've experienced, we always have a lot of time to get to University Station, you can just let the train coast. So, what is it, Northfield or Northfield? Northfield. And now I want to slow down. You can see those TPWS overspeed sensor loops in the track. I think Birmingham Cross-City was the first route where they are actually worked in Train Sim World. And where we also had the approach controlled signals. That was the AWS for the reduction for the moped board, I think, not for a signal. Here another TPWS overspeed sensor loop. I think we can have it coast. So this is the place where I lined up the trains for you. Fortunately, the guys got them out of the way, so we can safely pass King's Norton, and at the end of King's Norton there will be the limit to 40. Now I have to brake a bit more, otherwise we won't make it, I'm afraid. Guys, stay on your platform, please. 45 it is actually, not 40. Double yellow. Next station is Bournville. In Cadbury chocolate purple. Or violet, I don't know. What is the correct name for this color here? I think the limit increased to 60 at this point already. Double yellow again. So this station here is actually themed in this violet color. I call it a violet color. Then I think we will be passing Selly Oak. Lofty, it's very funny to me how the University of Birmingham has the only national rail station specifically for a university. Is that so? Didn't know that it is the only one. Single yellow. That means I should probably drive a bit more careful. As they say, expect a lot of adverse signals. And there is still one signal between here and the university station. That is Selly Oak. Did I lose my count? Let's just check the photo mode sometimes. Yeah, this is Selly Oak. Maybe a bit late, but it was for those guys at the end of the platform. I always love this part of the scenery. But now I should probably prepare for stopping. Oh no, signal has already cleared. At least to yellow. Here is at the same spot the drop to 50 in line speed limit. And Lofty says, for example, Sheffield Hallam University is right outside Sheffield Station, but that station was specifically built for that university. Please don't walk so close to the edge, guys. X. 1 yard more, please. Now I'm happy. And we are much too early. So from what I've seen, the timetable has a lot of space. So our stop marker here, yeah, just exactly. Ah, it was not. See? Did I unlock the wrong side of my train or what? No. Something went wrong with unlocking. Or I locked it. Again. Too early whatsoever. So it was not built specifically for Sheffield University. But only in Birmingham we have this. Alright. An interesting fact for me is that you can read that the Turbostars can actually be operated in multiple traction via their BSI, Bergische Stahlindustrie couplers, with Pacers and Sprinters, but not with vehicles of the Class 160 kinds. Okay. Those guys are obviously not too familiar, not too comfortable with jumping across the gap here. They don't want to leave the train, as it seems. Well then, stay inside. Oh, we helped them. Now that we're closing the doors, they finally made it out of the train. Oh, did I not set my reverser to neutral before opening the doors or something? I got distracted. Anyway, hill start again. Yeah, and then we're not rolling backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then let the train go. And Lofty says the 170 is not compatible with the 171 though, because the 171 have Delner couplings for working with the 377. Alright. Delna for the Electrostars. You think we don't have the 171 in the game? I actually never tried to couple a Pacer and a Turbostar in the game, or a Sprinter and a Turbostar. It's actually a bit weird. No, it's correct. It should work. It should work, but from what you can read, you are only allowed to operate the Pacers empty if you couple it for multiple traction with a Turbostar. And I always foresaw that. Here is a limit of 50. So I was probably speeding already. Here, the drop from 50 to 40 is announced by a moped board. I wonder when they will fix these assets for the football grounds. With these incredibly fat lines. Here limit to 40. So this station, what was the name again? Four ways or something like this, right? Before we get into the tunnel. And now downhill into the tunnel towards the New Street station. Limit will drop to 20 on the way, and then before we get into the station to 10. So if we want to do it smoothly, then we're just rolling down with brake 1. And we should just about make it to the 20, because it should be at the entrance to the next tunnel. Where we get the single yellow. There is a fellow 323 train. Not quite me, here's the 20. Here is the wall with the glowing bottom. And here's the 10. I misjudged it. It is already before we get into the station across this junction here. An unbranded Desiro 350 leaving the station. Layering in from the East Coast Mail Line, London, Euston, Milton, Keynes. Core Route 4. What was it? Train symbol 5, I think. Can see a Pendolino, a 390 waiting there. And if you think back of playing the Birmingham Cross-City line before, now all of a sudden we have traffic on those lines over there. And if you look out of the window too much, then you will go speeding. And again, a lot of time to roll into position. It's interesting that on the passenger information system they show the incoming trains the same way that they show the outgoing trains.
Ticket checks are in operation at this station.
As destination Birmingham New Street. And now I think we have to wait until 1609 before our service ends. Gives us some time to look around at the station a bit. See where those pendos are going. Edinburgh. Not in service, alright. More pendos. London Euston. Next stop Birmingham International. Yeah, if you ever wondered when your trains stopped at Milton Keynes when you're coming from London Euston, where the East Coast Main Line will finally take you, this is not the final destination, obviously, but one destination that you definitely will come through. This is one of those nice collectibles here, and this is one of the nicest thing here in this DLC, that you can actually watch the trains from this elevated position here at the staircases. Very stylish. Elevators from an era where they did not work. And now I think we're done. So, that was one service into Birmingham New Station. So let's maybe pick a cross-country livery and go the opposite direction. Most of the northern parts, or everything that is north of Birmingham New Street, is used by the Class 170 pack. But most of the services, from what I've seen, are actually playing here between Bromsgrove and New Street. So let's see what we can do with the cross-country liveries. Cross-country is actually quite an interesting company. If you look at their network, they're going virtually everywhere in England and Scotland except for London. They go as north as Aberdeen, they go to Penzance in Cornwall. And Birmingham is a bit of a node. So, if we want to go from New Street to Bromsgrove, then I think we need to take a service that takes us from Nottingham to Cardiff. Nottingham, Cardiff, Nottingham, Cardiff. This is obviously what... And here's an empty coach move. Nottingham to Paisley. Depot. Bristol Temple Meads to Stansted Airport. That is a bit of a special one. We're going into the opposite direction. Let's take one like Nottingham to Cardiff. They are all rated with 21. Then let's do it. Still thinking about the fact with the university, so there is only one university station in UK. We even have a LA university station in the San Bernardino line. And probably more stations that are built for hospitals than for universities. Drive part of this passenger service from Birmingham New Street to Bromsgrove in Worcestershire. Unlock the doors. Signal is still red, so we have to set the DRA neutral. Let's see if we can actually open the doors. Looks good. Safety systems. Oh, they unlock the other way around. Don't forget the fuse. GSMR. Testing lights. Actually can turn on your foot warmer. Don't know if it is actually getting warmer, but at any rate you can light it. Starter signal is still red. Yeah, I like the cross-country livery. It's a bit of a weird color scheme, but fuel cap you can open to refuel your train. Still red. Okay, let's tell the signal that I will want to leave. Denied, no route available. Well, I hope there will be a route available soon. Thing is, as long as the signal is red, I cannot close my doors. And now it changed. Now I can close the doors. Luckily, changing the signal was not connected with closing the doors, as it is sometimes in Rivet DLCs. We're starting in the 10 miles per hour section. I think we're quite a long train now. From what I've seen, we have actually... How many cars actually do we have? Well, only 3. So we're a single traction stroke 6 train set. Also an interesting story is that at the time being, nowadays those WMR Turbostars don't exist anymore, from what I've read, because they were sold to other companies, and the middle cars of the 3-car train sets that were sold by West Midland Railways actually ended up with cross-country, where they were put into their 2-car train sets to make them 3-car train sets. So formerly West Midland Railway middle cars are now cross-country middle cars, whereas the 2-car train sets went from West Midland Railways to East Midland Railways. So also trains can travel from one company to the other. And even single cars can do that. So soon enough we will be allowed to go 40. I venture and say it is now. Uphill towards 4 ways. Limit increase to 50. When approaching University Station, here is this interesting yellow device in the middle of the track that I thought to be a cable, but what I learned is some device to prevent lateral movement of the tracks. Now let's coast into University Station. The brakes on the Turbostar always seem a bit weak, especially on... Thank you so much. Forcing us into an emergency brake application and then vanishing into thin air. Nothing happened. Signaler, may I go on with my journey? Thank you so much. And on we go. Here's the increase to 60 in line speed. And here's your drive-by. Let's try if we get a better one. No. Maybe we get a better one here without trees in the way. Yeah, that's a better one. Thank you for redeeming. Can see that the DLC, the route DLC, is still a bit old because it has still the old water. It's really a nice livery. Yep. And guys, please stay on the platform. Preferably behind the yellow line. Not dancing on the edges with the suitcases and stuff. So we're not stopping before we get to Bromsgrove. But as soon as we made it through Bournville, we will probably have to slow down a bit for the junction. And that is always so cute. Now that we have photo mode, I can actually look at it here. This teddy bear, a collectible, sitting here looking out into the canal. I would never collect this. Cadbury Village. We get a moped board for slow down to 30 if we're going to the left, but we're not going to the left, we're going straight ahead. But that slows us down to 45, even if we don't get a sign for it. With some services you would go to the other pair of tracks. Here's the 45, so the permissible speed indicator is here, but we don't get a moped board for it. And this signal here is sometimes held at a red approach control to slow us down if we go here to the left to this other pair of track. What we don't do, because we stay here on the fast line. Actually not really necessary to honk here because there's no one on the platform. But hey, we don't have a lot to do anyway, so we can honk. And now back to 90. And out of the Birmingham conurbation into Worcestershire. That was King's Norton. Going back to Northfield. Passing Northfield. That's true, there are really a lot of trains sitting in the stations. So no one here on the middle platform. No honking necessary. Getting closer to Longbridge. And then there will actually be a limit to 75 somewhere when we're going towards Brent Green. Or is it past Brent Green? Well, we will see. I think it is not announced by a moped board, so we should know it from our route knowledge. Passing this WMR train. Through Longbridge, I think. Or are we even further ahead already? No, this is Longbridge. Now I have to look at my cheat sheet. No, there is no limit on the horizon still, but there is one. It will appear soon enough, but probably not before we get closer to the Lickey Incline, now acting as the Lickey Decline. No, still not here, but you can see the incline drip. I think I should start slowing down when we're getting into this curve here. Even though we have not seen it yet. But this somehow rings a bell. Let's see what kind of a bell it is. So far it seems only a very cautious spell, because there is no slowdown yet. Ah, here it is. Much further on. So we can pass Brent Green before we have to slow down, as it seems. Since we're not going down the branch line. Why can't you stay behind your lines, guys? Rip, rip. Okay. Let's try this bell. Curve to the right. Whistle board. And finally, no, here's the 25. Ah, this is the marker for slowing down to the 75. When we're actually passing this loop here. Should be enough. Here's the 75. Marker. Inconspicuously on the ground. Here's one of the... what are they called? Preliminary direction indicators. Rare installations. Oh. Incline already made me go beyond the speed limit. Not before we pass the 80 sign. And now we're running down the incline. And if we have to stop at Bromsgrove, it is always advisable to brake early. Because you have a lot of momentum when running into Bromsgrove station. And Bromsgrove station is still in an incline. So in a gradient. So especially if you have to go across the switches there, it can't hurt to be slow. Very early. We're not going, at least not according to the preliminary indicators and not according to our junction signal. But nevertheless, we have to burn our momentum before we get into the station, otherwise we won't be able to stop the train properly. See, even with brake notch 2, it is quite an effort to slow this train down for a stop here. It's probably not even enough, so we need notch 3. What we are normally trying to avoid, and even with notch 3 you can see this train is pushing along like a bunch of young horses. Bromsgrove, Worcestershire. And we are kicked out of our driver's seat. By this guy. Oh, it's quite full here. Just left me one seat in the first class compartment. Well, having no hair seems to be the thing this season. I left the safety systems on, so we will see how this works out with the AI driver. Not too well. He can ignore them, he won't get a penalty brake, but it will not stop beeping. while he's taking the train off the map. Well, bon voyage. Alright, this was once Bromsgrove New Street and New Street to Bromsgrove. Let's have a quick peek if there are any other services that use different parts of the line. Well, what's obviously nice with the new timetable is that the other trains that are layering in can now be run in Birmingham Cross-City, like the Zero, the 350, and the Pendolino, the 390, and don't know what 370. No, it's not the one. Here, this guy is also layering in if you buy the DLC, obviously. The Pendos. Oh, there's only one service that they have here in from Aston to Birmingham New Street. That is a very short thing. I don't think that they stop there in real life, but that is just the service that we can play now. Let's see how we get the Pendo into Birmingham New Street. From Aston, that is just a little bit north of New Street, so the other direction. So how do we set up the Pendo again? Master key, reverser, doors. Oh, I don't even open the doors here. Good. They just stopped without having to open the doors. Then we close them again. And we have to do the whole setup without doors. Safety systems. 1, 2, 3. Then there was also a fuse for the AWS. Oh, that was the wrong button. We need some light. They are running. I think this should be good. That is the TAS self-test. Now we have to go through second part. One more part. Yes, now they went off. And now the TAS self-test is done. And also here we have a hill start brake. What is our speed limit here? We are approaching a 30 limit. On the junction bridge. Here we actually have a part where we can go 70. Once the train has passed the sign. But this is most probably only a short joy, because we have to slow down to 30 again. But why not? $60. And then there is this station, and here is the 30 already announced. That was one of the first working off indicators in the game. And the 30 limit is somewhere on the bridge. Don't even have an arrival time for this service. A red on white countdown board here. Whole set of them. Junction signal. Sending us to the right. On the bridge. That has a 20, not a 30. Limit. Must have been a different way set. There's no affiliate link to the cross-country DLC, right? No. Don't do affiliate links. Thank you for asking. Don't know if other ambassadors are doing this, but I don't actually think that DTG is doing affiliate links. So, is it getting 25? Is there not a 10 limit? Oh, there is a 10 limit. We're getting sent to platform 4. And cross-country DLC says either that. No, that is funny. I would like this to OMSI. Yeah, but I totally second that, calling it the cross-country DLC. Because it's the first time cross-country is actually appearing in Train Sim World. The West Midland Railway already... Yeah, I think I will keep that cross-country DLC. A bit of an awkward name to call it. WMR XC Class 170/170/6 DLC. That does not really make a lot of sense, so I will just stick with cross-country DLC. So, we crawled with our Pendo into Birmingham New Street. Here's the welcome sign. And now get it into stopping position. They have these insanely huge signals here at Birmingham New Street. And we still have to go all the way to the front of this platform, even though the train is already here. Yup, that was the one Pendo service that comes with a new timetable. Let's have just a quick look at the other trains that you can run in this timetable and how many services you get from them or for them, like the D0. Choose a route, Birmingham Cross-City 170 timetable. So that was the one for the Pendo that we played. I'm done with it. Then you get 43 services for the 170. I'm not entirely sure if that is all. There are different services for the different versions. Then the Hyper Networker has 220 services. This is obviously the main part, because this encompasses also the services that go to the north and to the branch line. The D0, at least 51 services. Let's see where it is running. It is alright. More or less going between Aston and Birmingham New Street. So they are fairly short services. There is a bit... There was one that was a bit longer. Oh, but only for reasons. So that allows you to explore the part between Aston and Birmingham New Street excessively. Then we have the Class 66 in all its versions. Oh, this one I don't even know. Do we have a blue liveried one from Edinburgh, Glasgow? So it's actually hard to stay on top with how many different Class 66 versions there are in the game. And why the one from Manchester Airport Commuter is actually a different one than the other ones. At any rate, there is only one service with the Class 66, regardless of which one you pick. One for the... oh, even two for the 37. And 3 for the high-speed train. Yeah, that is the timetable with the playable services. Red Leader hires. I'm sure we will get a new livery with Train Sim World 6 for the Class 66. There is actually talk about, please give us a different British locomotive than the Class 66. Many people are a bit fed up with the 66. 66 is a great locomotive, but it might be a bit overused. Anyway, guys, I think that was the stream for today. Unboxing the Rivet Games Cross Country DLC with the 2 new versions, livery-wise and interior-wise, for the Turbostar Class 170. It's nice. It's maybe not the most urgent DLC that you have to buy, but it is definitely a nice to have, and it pimps up the Birmingham Cross-City route quite a bit. Thank you guys for watching, for staying with me, for your ongoing support. And Red Leader says, guess I will have I will need to replay this team. Arrived a bit late. Yes, I'm sorry. It's a weekday, it's a school's night more or less. And so it is 9:30 here in Central Europe. Luckily, the stream will be available on Twitch and I think tomorrow on YouTube. Thanks guys for staying with me. Take care, be nice to each other, and have a great week. See you on Sunday latest. Bye bye.